We have a very impressive panel. We have Dr. Karen McCurdy, Dr. Jacek Lubecki from Georgia Southern. They both are with the Political Science and International Relations Department at Georgia Southern. We also have Dr. Valentina Kozlova from University of Alberta. She teaches economics here.
So I've used some versions of peer assessment in my upper division classes, probably for close to 30 years now. There was a writing across the curriculum workshop very early on in my career, and it was about at the time that I was thinking, I can't do this job anymore, it's too difficult, this is crazy. Doesn't seem like I'm having any positive effect on students. But I introduced this scaffolded research project that was broken into a proposal, a first draft, a public presentation, where a lot of peer learning occurred, and then a final draft. And I had been looking around for ways to allow the peer learning to move earlier in the semester instead of weeks 11, 12, 13, sometimes depending if it was a very large class in the semester. So that's been in the back of my mind for a very long time. When Kritik reached out to me a couple of years ago, I jumped on it, and last fall decided to test this out in both upper division class and the Inter-American Government class. And so I've been very, very pleased with the way in which this has helped students realize they're not alone. Kinds of problems that they're struggling with are very similar to their other colleagues. And then on a social community sense, the sense that Inter-American Government students are beginning to gain practice with expressing their ideas and hearing other people's ideas that may not be the same as theirs.
My use of peer assessment and Kritik coincided, so they started at the same time pretty much. Kritik as a platform allowed me to have, to get quite a bit of experience with peer assessment and just see various, just to see how it works, really, how it can work, how it can benefit the students, the classroom, and myself.
In the politically charged environment that we live in today, like how does peer assessment help with, containing all those diverse perspectives that you may get in your classes and, talking about all of them in a peaceful manner?
I have taught politics of Russia and politics of the Middle East. So right away, those are not classes on American politics. So while debates can be lively and students can disagree, those are not, there's a level of separation between students and the issues. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head saying that, well, how do I engage those controversial issues? So among others, Kritik is precisely a good way to have students look at different arguments or handle disagreement in their perspective in a constructive type of way.
That calibration does that, preparation job for me really, really well. It's in my classes that serves several purposes, right? So the calibration exercise, by now that I've taught several classes using Kritik, I will have my students grade previous semester submissions, right? So on the one hand, students get, they get started on their grading power, good or bad. So that will, affect their whole Kritik performance, but not significantly, right? So they can still improve things as they go along. So it's not very high stakes. And secondly, they get to see the activity that they're about to submit, right? How it was done by other students. Having them practice it right away, I think is a great way to introduce them to peer assessment. I taught a class using peer assessment, specifically Kritik, and the same class I taught before, just in person. There was some peer assessment at the end, but like done by hand. All I can say is that the process, through peer assessment and specifically the use of Kritik platform, I am able to organize this semester-long project much better, where I have students, submit smaller portions of their project as opposed to just twice in the semester that I evaluate them. in the beginning and kind of in the end, because I couldn't handle, that much grading. So now it's more like four smaller chunks of the project that students submit and get feedback on each one of them. And not only they get feedback from me, but they get feedback from their peers. So they get lots of feedback from lots of different people, and I can really kind of get ideas on on how to improve. And another thing that I really appreciate about what Kritik allowed me to do for this specific course is that without Kritik, what I did was students got to present their semester-long project at the very end. So we had to take like 2 weeks of the semester, devote that just to presentations, and students would just present their work, and other students would see it and and just clap at the end. Now I get all the teams in my class to review all the other teams' work. So every student gets to see what all the other teams are doing, and I really appreciate that.